All right. Well, excited to be back out here. Players had yesterday off. Come out here and compete and honestly get ready for the Eagles.
What went into the decision to part ways with Juju?
Yeah, it was a decision between Elliott and myself, really to give the younger guys an opportunity to go out there and get more reps and show what they can do.
Specific to his health, I know he dealt with a knee injury coming into last season, seemed to sap a lot of his explosion. Is that something that you just felt like wasn't going to get better here?
I mean, that's part of it. At the same time, we just want him to get healthy. He still has some good ball left in him, and I wish him nothing but the best.
You've had some time. What do you take from that first one into this week in practice?
Say that again, sorry.
Now that you have some time to watch it and everything else, what did you take from that first preseason game into this week that you want to?
Yeah, the first game was really, at least for me, obviously you want to go out there and coach the game, but also just see operationally how everything was working, whether it's the communication from the booth downstairs or from coach to coach. Those were definitely things that I just wanted to see for myself. A couple things to iron out there. From a football perspective, I thought those guys went out there and played hard. They flew around. Once again, it doesn't matter who's out there. It's about the quality of the reps. And this week we'll have our starters playing a lot more.
Considering he didn't play much the other night, how big of a week is this for Drake in practice, with the joint practice?
Yeah, for all the quarterbacks, it's a huge week for those guys to really show development. Drake will play more this week for sure. But don't forget, anytime you practice against a team, like they'll get a lot of good reps against someone else, and based on that, we'll see how we'll play in the game. That's all positions, though.
Now that you've had a chance to go back and watch the film, what did you see from Joe Milton, kind of seeing it a second time?
Yeah, just watching Joe, run around, and that athleticism is always a welcome sight. And saying that, there's still things for him to work on. One thing would be ball security. I know it looked cool, but it's always a dangerous thing swinging the ball around like that. But this is a guy who's working hard every single day and getting better.
Kind of building up Dan's question a little bit. How do you anticipate maybe the energy, the intensity, the work kind of changes this week as you get closer to the regular season?
Yeah, this week well, first of all, in practice we're going to be wearing the same color, and I think it's good to bring to have joint practices to break up the monotony of the week, of training camp. But hopefully you continue to see the team gel together and guys taking a step forward.
Jerod, last week there's a lot of reporting and stuff about the Brandon Ayuk, but I'm not asking you about him specifically, but there is this sort of notion that maybe certain players don't want to come to it. New England is no longer a destination, and as a former player, head coach, one, how difficult is that? But two, does it also sort of speak to what you guys have to rebuild here when it comes to the on-field product and just making this maybe more, appealing?
Yeah. Look, we're always trying to get better. I think Ayuk's still in San Fran right now, and some other teams. He didn't go to some other teams as well. What I will say is, look, when we start to win games, guys will want to come here. When we start to establish the culture, establish the roster, I think guys will be excited to come back.
Thinking about the first game as a head coach for you, when you went back through it, maybe with Evan or however you do it game management-wise,
Yep.
What did you learn?
It was great. Look, it was the first time I had 4 channels on my headset, right? And so Evan and I have a dedicated line, and we talked through things during the game that would come up during the regular season. We didn't necessarily approach those situations that way, but it was good. The communication was good between the special teams coaches, the offense and defense. So it was good.
Just to follow on that, that one play at the late second quarter before the 2-minute warning, is that an example of one where you would hurry up to the line in the regular season, but you decided not to?
That's right. Yeah, and there are certain situations in these preseason games where sometimes you're like, well, let's just run our 2-minute drill, even though there's 6 minutes left. So you're trying to do different things and against different teams and just see how it kind of works out.
Anything surprise you with that? Kind of along what went on in the game, what went on the whole day. Anything surprise you, or maybe easier than you thought, harder than you thought, or just kind of managing your time?
Honestly, I felt like I was in my element. And I said this after the game, where I didn't have to really worry about substitutions and things like that. It was more of a holistic approach, and I mean, I enjoyed it.
You mentioned 4 channels. Evan's got 1. Are the other 3 just offense, defense?
Yeah.
Okay.
McCourty's, so.
And no. But the special teams coaches in the past didn't have headsets here. And so now they do have headsets because I think it's important that we're all tied in. That's just my philosophy.
I saw Slater on the sideline, and it looked like he was on a headset, but also talking to guys, is he going to be an important conduit for the players and the coaches?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's important for him to have a headset, and he's been helping with the special teams as well. Remember, his role is like this umbrella role, whether it's advisor or coach, whatever you want to call him, but he's always there to help, and I think he did a good job.
We've seen Mafi and Nick get some work as backup centers behind David. How would you assess that group behind the starter?
Yeah, it's a work in progress. You know, David's been doing it for a very long time, and some of these other guys, they just haven't done it. They played more of a guard role. But look, they're getting better at it. The coaches are doing a good job spending that extra time working on snapping. And you always want to have someone else on the, one or maybe even two extra guys that know how to snap the ball.
Jeremiah Farms played offense a couple of years in the past. What kind of look did he give your defense when he was doing that, and what does it say about his work ethic?
Terrible look. He's not an offensive lineman, but what I will say about Farms is, he's the more you can do type of person. He's always trying to help no matter what you ask him to do. He just loves football, whether it's playing offense, defensive line, on the practice team, like whatever it is, this guy's going to give you 100%. So I appreciate it.
What did Leaden Robinson show you in the film review?
That we still have a long way to go. Those young linemen, it was their first opportunity, and we're looking for that growth. Whoever we're talking about, we're looking for that growth from week 1 to week 2.
He's a guy that obviously played more right guard in college, playing more left the last few days, I would say, game in practice. Are you gaining more confidence that he might be able to do that?
Yeah, I do. I do think those guys will be good players. I think Leaden's going to be a good player for sure. And once again, the more you can do it, it's good. Now this week against the Eagles, they got some big guys in there, so it's going to be a huge test for them.
Matthew Judon was on the sideline a lot, kind of helping coach up some players during the team. After everything that kind of happened over the last week or two, what was it like to see that from him during the game?
Well, to me, it's not everything that happened over the last week or two. It's one day, and I think we all, have a bad day every once in a while. But he was dialed in. He was excited for the players, and he was coaching them up on the sideline. No complaints from me.
Any update on the PUP guys, health-wise? Kendrick.
Look, those guys are progressing. Some faster than others, but when they're ready to get out there on the field, they'll be there.
Jerod, how's the relationship with Alex Van Pelt? Sounds like you gave him the autonomy to make the decision, not the decision, but give the input on what you guys wanted to do offensively a bit prior to the preseason game.
Yeah, our relationship has been great. Look, he is the head coach of the offense, and once again, we meet about these things all the time, and sometimes things change. And people want to say, why didn't Drake play this much or that much? Look, we had a plan, and we have a plan for this week as well.
And you feel comfortable with do your thing? I'm delegating to you to make these.
Yeah, for the most part. When I watch other teams, I may give them some ideas, and look, I may not necessarily know all the lingo, but look, we need to get the ball in this space, or we want to run the ball this week. He's open to all that stuff, and we're on the same page.
To go back to the game management stuff for a second, I'm just thinking big picture. How will you decide when to go for it on 4th down this season? Is that Evan saying analytics say go, go, go? Is that a feel thing? How do you decide?
Look, Evan does a good job with all that stuff, but ultimately it's my decision. In every game, it's its own game. So that's how I would approach it.
2 final questions?
Mentioned Matthew Judon. Just I know you've spoken about being in a good place with the relationship as far as the off-field contract negotiations go. Do you feel like that's also in a good place right now?
I would say so. I mean, look, he understands he's under contract, and we expect him to be out here at practice, and when it's time for him to play, to go out there and play the game.
Coach, Darian Lowe's gotten a lot of run with the top offense. I'm wondering what you've seen from him, both on the field and in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is one of the quietest offensive linemen I've ever been around, but this guy goes out there every single day and improves. He has great athleticism, great length, and look forward to seeing him against better competition.
We'd be remiss if we didn't ask about you, actually. Can I just squeeze that in?
Yeah, we talked about you.
First question.
All right, good. Maybe I should get
You got caught in traffic, Sunday traffic. Thanks, guys.
See, I should have asked Mike Gasol.